How's everybody doing? Glenn Mercurio from GemStarCustomRazors.com. This morning I am going to do a quick video about how to remove a chip. I've got some pictures in there too of the chip in this Koraat. Nice custom Koraat, but it was dinged up right up here by the toe. There's a couple of different ways to do this. I've found this to be the fastest, most accurate way to do it. Keep in mind how far you have to go on this. Depends on the chip itself. This one's a pretty healthy chip. It's about, I'm going to guess it at right around maybe 1/16, 1/32 in there. Soaking over here in the tub is a Chosera 1K. This is a really well-worn DMT 325. I've had this for 10 plus years now. So it is well worn out. It is not a normal 325. They have to be worn out. If you were going to use something new, I would say probably a 600. Now, there's a lot of misconception about the word bread knife. Many people think it is directly straight up and down, okay? Which it could be. But bread knifing can be done at any angle you choose to do it at, from the 90-degree angle straight up and down to a slightly like a 60-degree, 30-degree, 20-degree and down. I always start this kind of repair with 2 layers of tape on the spine. That way I never make a mistake. One of the things you got to understand is when you're using something like a DMT 325, or if you were to use sandpaper or something like that, you're dealing with really sharp diamonds and really hard grits, which cuts really deep into the steel. Like your Choseras and things like that, they're designed to cut really how to explain that? They don't cut as deep. There's more grit. Imagine this: you have a cookie tray and you throw 100 marbles out there. All of them are, say, 325. Okay, they're all 325 grit marbles. That's the size of the marbles. And you throw 100 of them on a cookie tray. And you rub the steel over it. Those marbles are going to be kind of far apart, so they're going to cut deeper into the steel. Now say you took the same cookie tray with the same size marbles, but you put 1,000 of them in there. Now all of a sudden, the actual digging into the steel is going to be way less because there's way more little tips. In other words, you're going to be having more tips and more tips and more tips. So those little grit tips are going to be closer together so they don't abrade the steel as deeply. They're all still the same size, but they don't abrade as deeply into the steel. Anyway, it's just some technical BS there. What you need to do is you want to keep the deep cutting well towards the bevel. In other words, not this way towards the spine. You want to keep it well towards the bevel, so you want to make sure that the deep cutting that you're going to do is towards the very front of the bevel. That way, when you switch to regular honing and not repair, it will be easier to get rid of those really deep cuts. On this, I'm going to start right around 60 degrees, and I'm just going to kind of rock it back and forth and follow the contour of the blade. You notice how I'm walking it down, up and down the hone. I'm also rocking it up and down so that I don't wreck that beautiful smile that's in this razor. One of the bad things about bread knifing is people think that you have to straighten out the edge, and that's just not right. You can also use circles, but the problem with circles is you're going to create an uneven. In other words, you're going to create a whole mess of bumps, and you'll feel them. You can take them out later, but you'll feel them. So this rocking motion, especially on these smiling blades, kind of works a little bit better. It's kind of a sawing motion back and forth. And if you notice, I'm going up and down, up and down. I'm following the smile of the blade. Now I'm going to go the other way, and you'll probably be able to see this. I'm going to try and keep about the same angle. It's important, but it's not critical. Notice I keep moving up and down the hone, so I'm moving from spot to spot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see how I'm doing on this. And always magnification is your friend. You don't want to go farther than you need to go. Alright, that right there at that 60 degrees has almost taken the chip out. There is just a tiny little divot that is now bevel width. Okay, so I've almost gotten rid of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from about the 60 to approximately 60 degree angle. I'm going to go lower to about a 20, maybe a 30 degree angle. I'm going to do the same thing. What I'm doing is I'm rocking that bevel forward as I'm doing it. And I'm taking out the really deep striations that I put in there from cutting out that chip. I'm going to do the same thing the other side. Notice you can hear the little bit of a difference. It's kind of switching from an actual bread knifing cut to I'm sliding it down the hone too. Same thing. That stroke gives me really good control, especially on this really nice smiling blade. I do not want to straighten out that smile. I just want to get rid of the chip. Okay, now I wish I could show you this under magnification. The bevel is super, super, super tiny because I'm at a 30 degree angle, 20 to 30 degree angle up there. Basically, I'm about maybe a quarter inch off the spine, maybe, so probably 35 degree angle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of slide it. I'm going to cut that bevel a little bit better. Same thing on this, just barely off the spine. And you can hear the difference. Okay. I know this seems like I'm doing it really, really fast, but honestly, this is really all it takes. You can take out these chips really fast if you know what you're doing. Okay, now the bevel just got slightly larger because I got closer to the spine. Remember, I have 2 layers of tape on the spine. I want to make sure that I'm taking out those deep striations. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the Chosera 1K and I'm going to reset a bevel. Yes, I use slurry. I like slurry. You can say what you want about it. Try it. If you don't like it, don't use it. If you like it, use it. Whatever you want to do. Now this is Japanese honing strokes. Back and forth, back and forth. Notice that I'm following the curve of the smile. I'm also watching the slurry and the water as it comes up on there, and I'm making sure that it's a nice even stroke. Let's go back the other way. It might look like I'm going straight up and down. I am not. I'm actually doing a kind of a swooping motion following the smile of the blade. What I'm doing is I'm watching the slurry and the water right up on the bevel to make sure that it's a nice even bevel. Still kind of doing repair to this, and I'm applying a fair amount of pressure on this because we are repairing it. As I get closer, I'm going to get lighter. Okay. Now let's take a look and see what we got going on. Alright, now I got a real smooth, even, tiny bevel, and the chip is out. There is no more chip. Now, amazingly, I've already got it cutting hair off my arm. That whole myth about bread knife and a razor makes it dull and it takes forever to get it sharp again. It's a myth. Okay. The problem is everybody does this straight like this and then goes straight to this instead of doing like I did. If you start at a 90 degree bread knife, then you go to a 60 degree, then you go to a 30 degree or 45, 30, and you just kind of walk the blade back down to the spine, and it doesn't take any time at all. It's a myth. I've proved it I don't know how many times. There's tons of videos out there of me doing it at the meet, and I can take it from a straight 90 degree bread knife to a bevel pop in less than 6 minutes. So anybody that tells you it takes hours has never done it, or they don't know how to do it right. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really care. Once again, all I'm doing is following the blade itself, leaving that really nice smile in. The nice thing about this is I took off no extra steel, because as I was doing that high angle, that bread knifing that I was doing, I didn't totally get rid of the chip. And that's kind of the trick to it, so you don't waste steel. I didn't totally get rid of the chip. I brought it down to where the chip was just about gone out of the bevel. And then I went to a lower angle, and then I went to setting a bevel, so that as that chip came out and all those deep striations came out, I was on the 1K Chosera. So now it's just a normal bevel set. Okay, I'm going to clean this one more time, and we're going to do a normal bevel set. Okay, now remember, I still have 2 layers of tape on there. So now I'm going to take off the extra layer of tape, and if you put it on at 2 different lengths, it's really easy. You put the base layer down a little bit longer than you put the top layer, and it just comes right off there and leaves the bottom layer on perfectly. Okay, so now we're going to do a bevel set using 1 layer of tape. I'm going by feel here. Again, it might look like I'm doing straight up and down strokes, but I am not. They're all following the smile, and all I'm doing is actually watching the slurry. I'm watching it build up on the edge of the blade, and I'm making sure that it gets the entire blade from heel to toe, dead even. Doing a few X strokes now. This side right here is just a little bit off, so we're going to give that a little push. Notice I'm going to move my thumb right over here. I'm going to give it just a little push there. Okay. You can feel for it. Giving it just a tiny bit of push as I come off there. Ah, there it goes. Now it feels right. Looks like the spine is there's a slight high spot on the spine right there too. We might have to, yeah, that's what it feels like. Okay, so now check it again for evenness and complete bevel set with all the chips out of it. Nice and smooth and even. There we go. Now let's see. Popping hairs all the way along. Alright, what I'm going to do is that spine right there has a little bit of a nub, a little bit of a high spot. So I'm just going to drag this just a touch right there on that spine and take that little, the grind was just slightly off. I could feel it. And that's all it would really take. You just want to smooth that up just a touch. You don't have to grind it down or anything like that. Got 1 layer of tape back on. Notice how I stop it from flopping around. Make sure your tape is smooth. Okay, now we just did a complete bevel reset and repair and everything. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have it popping hairs and the bevel is actually set, I'm very gently going to just kill that edge. Then I'm going to very lightly reset the bevel. 1 layer of tape, very light strokes on the Chosera 1K, and reset the bevel. Almost like a finishing stroke. That gets rid of all the little, any sparklies that you might have on there. Remember, we worked that edge a little bit harder than we normally would on a bevel set. So we want to very gently bring that bevel back into play. Now, we should have a total bevel set again. But it'd be nice and smooth. There we go. Cutting hair. I just check it a few places. Only cut a few hairs off. There we go. This is all reset. Nice tiny, tiny little even bevel. Chips are gone. Everything's good to go up into the next, I go to a Chosera 5K now. And then, of course, before you go on, you double check, make sure there's no issues on either side. There's nothing left that's messed up. Okay. And that is how you repair a chip easily, quickly, and accurately. There's the real key word is accurately. You don't have any guesswork out of it. All I did was follow the natural smile that was put in that razor to begin with. I never changed any of the geometry. I never changed any of that. I just simply took that chip out, brought it back down to an even bevel with one layer of tape. Thanks. Once again, GS6 Gun, Glenn Mercurio from Jumpstart Custom Razors. Thanks for watching.